Hello class, welcome to our second lecture series on international finance, and I'm your instructor Jamal Haider. Okay, so we ended our discussion on outsourcing. So we talked about in our previous lecture, the trade balance, balance of payments, the capital account, financial account, right? We talked about their different stuff. We also saw some examples of cash inflows and outflows as a country. So we ended our discussion on outsourcing. And we were discussing in our last minute, we were discussing the managerial decision about outsourcing. So we are going to continue from here. So what we talk about the outsourcing, what is outsourcing? Anyone can explain? ETA, Tiffany, Oliver.
Like contacting other firm to do the job. To do a kind of job.
To do a kind of job for your inputs, okay? Not just become your employees. So, Lancelot, I got your reply, okay, to do jobs for you. Yes, like inputs job, like producing parts for your product. Good, good Lancelot, good. So Lancelot, you can also input your audio as well, okay? Okay, so outsourcing means when it is cheaper for you to buy from a third party rather than producing by yourself. So you discontinue that segment and ask a third party whether that is an international organization, you are ordering cross borders, then it is called outsourcing. It means you are putting out the jobs that are previously yours to somebody else to do for you. Normally, we outsource which kind of function? Production parts. And nowadays, there are some accounting part, financing part. Also, many companies, they are outsourcing it to capable companies, outsourcing their accounting jobs, outsourcing their human resources. Okay, if you want to find a worker, you contact a third party HR. You said, okay, this is our requirements. Find this kind of person for us, and we are going to pay you some commissions or this kind of stuff. So in China, you have seen a lot of this kind of stuff, right? For example, teaching jobs, model jobs, somebody else is hiring for them. So this is called outsourcing. But in MNCs, what kind of outsourcing they are doing? All kinds of approximately, except for those in which they have core advantage or competitive advantage. For example, if we talk about the Boeing, so they outsource almost all the parts, even wheels, their plane wings, engines, all the electrical stuff, seats, the radar stuff, the cockpit, black box, everything. Only thing that they are not outsourcing is the design. That because over there they have a core value. If they outsource that one, then maybe somebody else can steal that one and make a new company for them, right? So we ended our discussion that what are the managerial issues regarding outsourcing, and we talked about in a hurry, so let me just go through once again. Number first was that the managers of the US based MNC may argue that they create jobs for the US workers. So there is a challenge in outsourcing that some managers, they don't want to go to the outsourcing. Why? Because they are patriotic and they say that, okay, no, if we outsource them, then we are losing workers here and there is already unemployment in the US. So we are creating more unemployment. On the other hand, there is a trade-off. Shareholder will be very angry and they will say that, look, you are hired by us in annual general meeting to increase the shareholder wealth, not to see the whole America, not to see the whole, not to deal with the governmental issues. So unemployment is governmental issues, not the issues of Boeing Corporation, right? So shareholders may suggest that the managers are not maximizing the MNC's value as a result of their commitment to creating jobs. And what happens if they don't increase the shareholders' wealth? If it is more costly for them to produce internally, it means their unit costs start rising. So their product will be becoming more expensive in the future. And what happened? Those who can control the cost will stay longer in the industry, and those who cannot, they will be exiting the market. So this creates a potential harm, right? The third one, top managers should consider potential savings that could occur as a result of outsourcing. If one part is more cheaper, then look at the overall saving, maybe in billions of dollars, maybe in millions of dollars. And if you reduce the cost, what is the formula for profit? The profit is equal to revenue minus cost. So even though you are selling the same 100 units, right? Same cost. For example, you're selling the same 100 units. Your sales are $1 million, but your profit is increasing because your cost is decreasing, right? So top managers, their salaries are also linked with the company's profitability. They are given target. If you increase the profit from 5% to 8%, we are going to give you some stock options, some perks and benefits, or this kind of stuff. So they always think about increasing the profit through different means, right? Fourth, the managers must also consider the possible bad publicity or bad morale that could occur among the US workers. If you are hiring the production, one of the production facility, then it create a bad impact on the others. Maybe our job is not secure. Why we are putting our 100% effort and our 100%, because we are sacrificing our family time balance, work-life balance. We are putting more work for the organization. So there's a study that a person spends more than 33% of the life of his, adult life, working age life in the organization. So look at that. Every day when you are young, you are working from 9 to 8, 9 to 7, 9 to, whatsoever. Official time is 9 to 5, but overall they are working, more on weekends as well. So more than 1/4 of your life is dedicated to the organization. And if organization is not caring about you, then you will lose motivation. You will not work for your 100% productivity. If the work is if the work is done by in 1 day, you are taking 3 days because your morale is down. Maybe you have a job security issues. Maybe you think that if that department is laid off, then I would be laid off. If I am laid off, then how I'm going to pay my bills, how I'm going to pay my rent, how much I'm going to pay my leases, right? How my children gonna fees is gonna be paid. So this kind of stuff. So it creates a bad impact on the organization as well. How you can deal with that? Anyone? How you can deal with that? Anyone can comment?
With corporate social responsibility.
Yes, one of the part is corporate social responsibility. You fulfill your responsibility by announcing that, okay, we laid off this department, we finish, or we just cut off that department, shut down that department, but we are not firing anyone else, so that you give them confidence that you are still here in this company, right? Okay, now today's lecture, we're talking about the international flow funds. And international flow of funds also is going to be impacted by the trade volume, right? So the annual international trade volume of US is between 10 to 20% of its annual GDP. So I hope you understand what is GDP. I hope you've gone through by macroeconomics, in which the gross domestic product, which is a proxy for national income. So look at that. The international trade is 10 to 20% of their national income. Look at that. It's a huge amount. Plus, trade volume between United States and other countries are about 20% of all US exports are to Canada, while 13% to Mexico. Canada, China, Mexico, Japan are the key exporters to United States. So not only the US is exporting, but also importing. Together, they are responsible for more than half of the value of all US imports. So neither, the US is exporting to all over the countries, but also more than 50% he is importing from Canada, China, Mexico, and Japan. Only from 4 countries he is importing more than 50%. So look at the trade volume. So that's why it is contributing, buying and selling contributing 10 to 20% in its overall national income. So here we go. So distribution of US exports. So where is the US right now? And look at that, where he is exporting. Approximately all over the world. You see, Finland 2%, Sweden 5%, Norway 3%, Denmark 2%, Netherlands 35%, 48%, right? So its exports contribute to their imports here. So it means if US is exporting, the other countries are importing. Even Russia, South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, Thailand, right? So this is how the international trade is going on. So that is why it is important for you guys to understand the international finance, right? Because nowadays we are directly or indirectly linked with international stuff. That's why we call it the world has become global village. So distribution of exports and imports of the US. So you can see that China, from China, US